We're now on to the next two speakers. So again, no doubt they'll be inspirational. Lloyd and Daphne Holterman from Wisconsin in America. So you've already been over here for a few days in Wales, and hopefully been over to some few farms as well, having a chat with some of our like-minded farmers, which I think have been perhaps adopting some of the principles. Certainly as Farming Connect, we've adopted some of the principles you've been working with, whether that's improving the people you're working with or working for, and also trying to improve the standards of the productivity of your cows as well. I know we'll also be looking at the housing, the milking practicalities or practices, and also the genetic selection has been a key role that you've been looking at. And those are real key principles that we as Farming Connect have been working with as well with on some of the demonstration farms that we've been working with for the last 4 years or so. So I know time is running out, so I'm going to pass it over to you now. So a warm welcome to Lloyd and Daphne Holterman.
Well, Chris, that was really inspirational. I feel bad having to follow a great inspirational speaker like that, because I hope that I can inspire you 1% of that. My wife Daphne and I started farming in 1980, and just to lay the framework a little bit for you, we farm in Watertown, Wisconsin, where it's really cold. Especially last week, we had minus 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and nothing froze up because we were ready. We were ready to take it on, and we had been warned ahead of time by the weatherman. And so, but basically, I want to tell you that you have a choice which road you're going to go down in your farming careers. There's all different ways of doing it. There's block calving, there's confinement, which is the method we use. There's everything in between. And how you get down the road, you have a choice. Most people go on the upper left with a car. You can kayak down a stream on your journey if you want to make it really enjoyable. You can use 1950s technology, and if sometimes that's better off in a museum, or you can go on a motorcycle, and which is fast and fun but risky. So this is the first farm Daphne and I bought, a real fixer-upper. 100 pounds of rat poison later, we're on our way. So not really a great start, right? And we graduated from UW-Madison with $10,000 of college debt and no assets. So besides a horse, which I guess you put on the liability side of the balance sheet. But Rosie Lane Holsteins now, in 1999, we had just undergone an expansion. We decided to change our business structure to allow ownership by non-family members. Since Daphne and I have two daughters that were very young, and we needed more help, and we knew we needed to expand and grow our business. We brought in Tim Strobel on the right, a young guy who had worked for us since he was 14, hates cows. Hates them. Loves cropping. I hate cropping. I love cows. So it was a great combination. Daphne and I brought Tim into the business, and he's still a partner. This is our operation today. We milk just short of 1,100 cows. And we have animals in different locations in different states, and genetics are a big part of our business. So what does that have to do with antibiotic? Well, here's our young partner, Jordan Matthews. We brought him in 2014. He also started working for us when he was 14 years old. Loves cows, stays out of my way on the genetics program. I stay in his way in every other area, but and Daphne, of course, handles the employees, the social media, all the accounting. So my job now, I'm down. I used to have to do everything when I started farming. Now I'm down to just genetics and finance. So again, we have a great team. We built a great team, and give responsibility, check that it's all going good, and if the performance is great, reward people. And that's been our strategy. Today, we have 1,072 cows, 840 heifers. It's been 6 years since we've treated a lactating female cow with antibiotics. Now, how do you do that? I'm not saying that everybody here should do that. I'm saying everybody here should try to get there. And it takes a little time, and I can outline how that happens. Our cell count in December with every cow going in the tank, regardless of status, was 113,000. So 154 days in milk, our cows are averaging 43 liters. Let me set the stage. 43 liters is a lot, right? But here, you get most of your milk from grass. In Wisconsin, the cheapest way to get milk is grain. So that's a whole different ballgame. We feed rations that are 53% concentrate. And the more concentrate we feed and can manage, the more money we make. And the better off our cows are. That's totally different than your circumstance here, where concentrates and cake is very expensive and grass is cheaper. So we average 4.6 lactations per cow, which is pretty good in a confinement system. I know that people, our goal would, of course, be to do better than that. Our overriding goal, and this is what drives every decision on our farm, our goal is to produce 1.7 liters of milk for every 1 pound dry matter that the milking cows consume. If we do that, we're doing everything correctly. Just think about that. If you don't get your cows bred, if you have a mastitis problem, if you have lameness, that kills. That absolutely kills that number. These cows all have to be at the top of their game to achieve this. And this is average for all the milking cows, 1.7. We have achieved that one time. In 2013, we had a drought in 2012. You guys, I understand that your farms just in areas went through a major drought. What's great about a drought? First of all, you have a really nice summer. You can drink lots of beer and party. Second thing is that the feed is very, very high quality. What little feed you do get makes more milk. So we did achieve that in 1 year, but every other year we've struggled to get there, and last year we ended up at 1.68. What do you have to do? The first thing you have to do, the most important thing down on the right-hand side there at 4 o'clock, people. You have to have good people. You have to have people that care, and you have to really invest a lot of training into your people. Train, 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 train. I mean, you just have to do it, and the people that really don't like cows or don't like your system or don't like you, they should find a job that they like better, and everybody benefits. You don't have to make it miserable. They don't have to leave, and you don't have to hate each other forever. This job's not for you, and find something you really love to do. So then housing, nutrition. Nutrition's always overemphasized. You can do it 100 different ways, but nutrition's always overemphasized. Herd health is critical. Milk harvest, milking the cows. Technology, utilize technology like genomics, milk recording. We're all good at technology with our cell phones. Take that to the cow level, and I think you'll make a lot of progress. So some of the cow goals we have, last year we had a 3.3% death loss on the cows, and we'd like that to be less than 3. 0% treated with antibiotics. Our old goal 6 years ago was we wanted only 5 cows out of 1,000 going through the parlor to be out of the tank. Well, now it's been 0 for 6 years. 100, less than 160 days in milk, we're achieving that goal. I think 160 is optimum, so we kind of are moving that goal around a little bit. We think we can get a little more milk by lengthening that to 160. 1.7 services per conception. I'd like that to be 1, right? Who wouldn't like that to be 1? But the reality is that it's a journey, and you have to keep working toward the goal. When we get to the consistent down 1.5, then we'll work for 1.4. Profit per cow. We have a milk cycle in the U.S. that's been destroyed ever since Europe gave up their quota system. We used to be on a 3-year cycle. We had a really bad year, 2009. 2010 was a great year, right? Our price goes like this, and we are in a 3-year cycle. so we could always count on one good year. Well, the last good year was 2014. More milk around the world, and we're at, so a lot of things, outside forces. Chinese quit buying so much. Mexico quit buying so much stuff. They started buying from Europe. So that cycle, you can't count on it anymore. So we always look, you can't look at profit as a one-year thing. Look at it 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever you want to do. Are you building wealth? Are you building net worth? Are you able to live a good life? If the answer is no, you need to change direction. 133,000 cell count last year. That's with every cow going in the tank. We're pretty happy with that. I know there's people that have lower, but they're dumping cows. Just a picture of the front of our facility. We get a lot of visitors every year, especially since we're 30 miles from Madison at World Dairy Expo time. The world's dairy industry descends on Madison. We're the beneficiaries of that because we get to know a lot of great people from all over the world. One of the things we did was we looked, I told you how important grain was to us. Well, how are we going to lower our feed cost? Yeah, you buy right. You want your cows to be efficient. We actually built this to take advantage of the inefficiencies of the grain system in the United States, where grain gets trucked to an elevator, then it gets trucked to a place where they grind it, then it gets trucked out to a farm. We did all that in this facility here, and we're able to buy the corn in season very cheap, take advantage of low interest rates, and grind the corn right on the farm. It's completely automated. When something goes wrong with it, my partner Tim gets a message on his cell phone, and he goes and fixes it. So it's all automated, has a 6-year payback. So instead of milking more cows, which is what people normally do to make more money, we're looking at building margins. We want to widen margins, cut cost, widen margins, and this is part of that equation. Another thing we did, this should be no surprise to people in this room, traveling to Europe, we saw most people in Italy, Germany, a lot of people here have these already. We're going, why don't we have that in the United States? Well, they weren't available. Nobody was marketing them. This is actually the first one in the United States. We bought it and it took a year to get it. It's replacing 4 pieces of equipment. The capital cost is less, and we're saving about 3 man-hours a day in labor. It's 8. I think most of you are familiar with this, but we're using a lot less fuel. It takes one person 5 hours to feed 1,400 head of cattle, and we saved about $40,000 in capital investment. So again, a technology, cutting cost with a technology that's available to everybody in this room. We have a very small milking parlor. We're putting 950 cows through this double 12. We milk 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So when we buy a piece of capital, we have to utilize it. If we can't fully utilize a piece of capital, we don't buy it. Or we buy it and then we do the work for other people. Again, a picture of our cross-vent barn. This is the picture of perfection. This is what you want. Every cow, she was milked, she ate, she drank, she's lying down comfortable. So a really nice facility. Again, talk about our base for reducing antibiotics, genetics. We've been breeding for productive life instead of type since 1992. Haven't always made the right genetic decisions on every single mating, but in general, we've been on the right track. We've been breeding for daughter pregnancy rate. Number one leading reason of culling in the United States is open cows. It's not cows going lame. It's not cows getting mastitis. It's not cows not giving enough milk. It's open cows. We have to fix that problem. We have to get the fertility back into our Holsteins. Some of the other breeds are more fertile than Holsteins. We're trying to fix that. Mastitis resistance. Did you know right now you can breed for low somatic cell count, which is what everybody's been doing to try to reduce mastitis. Now they've identified the genes that can help you reduce mastitis through breeding for mastitis resistance. Zoetis has done a thing called Dairy Wellness Profit. We look at that number. We don't use bulls that are high or low on mastitis resistance. Again, using a technology now. Instead of antibiotics, we're going to use a technology to have less of the problem. Then locomotion and lameness resistance, you can breed for that too now. You know, how healthy are the cow's feet? We know there's huge differences in lameness between sire groups. Let's use the bulls that are going to reduce lameness, reduce mastitis, be more fertile. Again, when's the milk price going to go back up to, say, 40-some cents a liter, right? Probably not in the next 4 or 5 years. What are we going to do in the meantime? Your only option is to widen margin, reduce costs, do a better job, have better cows. That's really going to be the safe, even if milk prices do come back up, you're going to be in a better position to maximize your return on that. Long-term solution for lameness is genetics. I'm kind of a registered cow guy, really like Holsteins, right? So I was on the university judging team, judge shows, had excellent cows. What did we always breed for? The completely wrong thing, a straighter leg, a shorter pastern, a deeper heel, a closer toe. Did you know that that's the second worst thing you can do behind a really flat foot? Because those are the most lame cows you can have. Really, the most healthy-footed cow. All the research, and it came from Europe, actually. Denmark was one of the first places they did it. Moderate foot angle and a slightly spread toe. Healthiest foot you can have. Where's our association? Where's our breed associations in this conversation? Promoting the classifiers to keep scoring the cows higher on foot and legs that are leading to lameness. At least in the United States, that's a huge problem. We need to face the reality. We need to go with the facts, not just the theory. We don't pull calves anymore. Real quick story. We sent 2 of our best guys to a calving school up at Rosendale Dairy. They milk 8,000 cows. You think they have a few calves coming out every minute of the day? So the guys came back. They're there all day long, and they're speaking Spanish, which I don't understand a lot of. And I asked my partner Jordan, who speaks fluent Spanish, what they said. And, well, they came back and they said, we're not supposed to pull calves anymore. Well, really, we're used to helping. We thought we were doing a lot of good, helping the cows have a calf, the calf's halfway out. What do? You pull it the rest of the way out because you want it to be alive, you want it to be healthy. They said, the guys told them, no, you leave them for 8 hours. They should have calf all the way on their own. If the calf's halfway out, do not touch. Do not touch. Let Mother Nature take its course. And I said, that's crazy. You're insane. We're going to have dead calves, you know, and on the 3rd dead one, I'm coming to see you, you know, because you're the manager and it's going to be on you. Well, guess what? Guess who was wrong? Right here. I was completely wrong. We have less dead calves, less metritis, less RPs. We're not tearing up the mothers. We're not getting the lameness. We're not getting the broken cows that we used to get when we pulled the calves too early. Again, let Mother Nature take its course. Let the cow be a cow. I think in your grazing systems, a lot of cows do calve on their own. But it takes, after, I still can't get it here. There's a camera in my office that's on the bedding pack where the cows calve. I have to turn it away. Every time a calf's half out, guess what I want to do? Run back there and wreck the cow. So again, we have less DOAs than we ever had, 3.3%, and healthier calves as a result. Again, this is my ideal cow. She's a former #1 TPI heifer in America, and she actually was the mother to a #1 TPI heifer and net merit heifer that we sold to Pine Tree Holsteins in Ohio. Many of you are familiar with Pine Tree prefix. This is my ideal cow. Kind of goes against the Holstein breeding, right? She's short, she's round, she's strong, she has a moderate foot angle with a spread toe, and she's a really valuable animal. She has 3 sons in AI now. High components, high fertility. Her livability, average livability for Holsteins is 0, right? the average genetics 0, okay, she's +7. That's a really big, that means that she's going to really be healthy. Her daughter pregnancy rate. So again, guess what she scored? 81 as a 2-year-old. You know, doesn't bother me. I don't score cows anymore, but Pine Tree liked to score, and they had her down there for a while, and they were working with her, so she's 81. This is another great example. Short, powerful cow. This is a cow that's 9 years old and looks 4 years old, and over 100,000 tons or 100,000 liters lifetime. She ended up at the end. Again, I want to show you when we don't use antibiotics. I should go backwards a little bit. To do that, we eliminated Staph aureus, we eliminated strep ag, strep uberis, and we culture our bulk tank, because those are things that are that you can use antibiotics on. So we're free of those things. So we're dealing with Klebsiella and E. coli. They don't respond to antibiotics. And even retained placentas and metritis, if you stabilize the cow, give them fluids, the cows are resilient, they'll overcome these adversities on their own. So by breeding this kind of a cow, more disease-resistant cow, you'd think we'd given up somewhere on performance. And these key indicators shows that we've actually improved our performance by going in this direction. We've gone from 695 cows to 1,072. Our milk is improved about 800 liters. Our fat is improved over 150 kilos. Our protein's improved. Look at our vet cost. That's, in our size operation, that's $180,000 a year. Okay, some of that is that Julio, one of our Spanish-speaking guys, we taught him how to ultrasound. We do all our own vet work ourselves. We do all our own foot trimming, all our own breeding, all our own ultrasound. We do everything in-house. Yeah, that was a big cost savings, but the cows have to lead the charge. They have to be healthier. And these metrics show that you can do it. Services per conception. We have bred more fertility in our cows than we used to have. Our DOAs, we've bred more calving. We're having more live calves by not touching them. Actually saves a lot of labor too. Percent of the milking herd treated, our goal is 0. And we've actually improved the feed efficiency of our cows by breeding for health. I say the #1 driver of feed efficiency, which is the buzzword all over the world now. Everybody wants to reduce methane, to make the cows more feed efficient. Healthy cows. You can't average zeros in and achieve 1.7. You have to have your cows healthy and in the tank to achieve feed efficiency. And that feed is the biggest cost in every operation, whether it be grazing or conventional or block calving, it doesn't matter. Feed's your biggest expense if you factor all the factors in. Again, 1/100th of a point of feed efficiency in our system is worth 10 euros. Okay? So by improving that, that's 50 euros per cow per year net profit. Okay, just a little thing like that. Again, in summary, total management program to reduce antibiotic use, it needs to create wealth over time. And one practice has to complement another. In other words, if you try go home tomorrow and quit treating your cows and you have strep uberis or strep ag or something that responds to antibiotics, that's a mistake. You have to take the whole equation in. You have to eradicate some of these things first and then use different methods of treatment. Yeah, there's more at risk by not embracing new technologies and growing your farms. If you stay the same, we always say in the United States, if you're staying the same, you better sell out that day because you're going to be broke in 5 years. Okay? So you have to keep advancing, and it's always a puzzle in progress. You're always trying to recombine things in a different way. So when a cow gets mastitis by us, fluid therapy, hypertonic saline to flush the toxins from the cow, followed by polylights in the vein, and then pump the rumens with water and yeast solution to keep the bacteria working. Stabilize the cow. 80% of these cows will get over metritis or RPs or mastitis on their own. Their natural immune systems are capable of getting over the disease. And that's one thing we never give the cow credit for. So with that, you have to ask yourself, where are you headed on your, to please the consumers, to please the environmentalists? We have to do better. Where are you headed on this journey of sustainability? Lots of new technologies. You have to pick which ones work for you. You have to pick how you're going to manage these cows to reduce sickness. And you know, my biggest dream is to have the animal welfare people out there and they say, wow, this is the way cows should be taken care of. That's our goal, to do that kind of a job. And I have one quick story to end up with, because I know Daphne's going to speak for a few minutes also. I went to a environmental field day where they were trying out new manure methods for spreading on a field. And in the bus, we're going back to where they picked us up. I sat next to this lady who worked for the Department of Natural Resources in Wisconsin. And if you're a farmer, this lady's the enemy, right? Department of Natural Resources, they're environmental regulators. And I'm sitting there talking to her, and I'm asking her what she thought of the field day. Oh, this is great, you know, all these new methods. And she was kind of retired, and then she started complaining about the farm across the road from her. Big mess, cows in the mud, environmental disaster, broken fences, cattle out getting onto the highway at all times. She said, I wish one of these guys, meaning the people that put on the field day, I wish one of those guys would buy that farm. I want to be the guy that she wants to buy that farm. And that's what we have to think about every day. Do you want to be the person that the environmentalist or the vegan can point to? Well, if there's going to be agriculture, I want that guy to, or that lady to own that farm. And that's my goal. So thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd, and thank you, Chris, for being my warm-up speakers. I really appreciate that, to get the crowd all warmed up. And next we know is a break, so I'm not going to take a lot of time, but Lloyd addressed a lot of nuts and bolts on things that happen at Rosie Lane, Holsteins back in Wisconsin. And I want to talk a little bit about what I do there, and that is sharing our sustainability story. So we have some partners, as Lloyd mentioned, Tim and Jordan. They're doing all the work while we are doing this kind of fun stuff. And we all talk about the word sustainable. What does that mean? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's a concept, and it's something I think we're all striving to do every day. We just don't talk about it enough, in my opinion. We're each doing it in our own way and our own path. And how can we share that with what I call society at large? Because going forward, as Lloyd mentioned, like it or not, we're going to have a social license to operate. People are going to have to love farmers, continue to love good farmers, and we've got to be those people ready to step in and fill that void. I have something I call the 7 times rule. It's loosely based on some communications training I have. So I have an ag journalism degree from the University of Wisconsin. I did a lot of writing and communications in the food and agriculture industries early in my life. And really the first time when you want to get a message across to someone, you have to tell them or show them. Then you have to tell them again. Then you have to remind them. Then maybe the next time they hear you, right? Maybe they comprehend the next time, maybe. Then they might comprehend on the 6th or 7th time. Then they're likely to get it and form an opinion, as we get to that 7th time. And maybe in the 8th time, they're going to do something. They're going to act on something, whether it's speaking out or just telling their friend about you, what you do on your farm. But my point is, it's going to take not just once or twice or 3 times to tell people and exchange ideas with people. It might take 7, 8, or 10 times for us to share what we do and why we do it. So we have to drive home our commitment to what we do every day. And what we do is not always a yes or no or black and white. Over time, we have to demonstrate to consumers our internal compass, okay? I always point right here to my heart, because this is what drives me, it's what drives Lloyd, and hopefully most of our employees every day. It's in our blood to do the right thing. Sometimes that's very hard to communicate. It's very hard to put that into words. It's sometimes easier to show it, which is why we do so many farm tours at Rosie Lane. And the goal is ultimately, I think, to make our farm better and to make the world a better place for the next generation. And that's us with our 2 daughters there at the farm. This is where I started farming my family in 1959, our farmstead. And Lloyd's family, this is where they started when they came out from Milwaukee County. And that's what the farm looked like in the 50s and 60s. And Lloyd and I started here. You saw that picture earlier. It was really fun. And today, this is a nice aerial of the farm operation that we're at. And so I think if farmers saw where we started or consumers saw where we started and where we ended up, they can maybe get an appreciation for what took us there. And our farm, we rely on social media to help us. So if you aren't friends with us on Facebook, if you haven't visited our website, I please encourage you to do that. We Twitter, or tweet too, I guess. So we work on that. And we use calves. We use pictures as much as we can to explain what we do and why we do it. I think in general, calves are totally underutilized by everyone in any phase of animal agriculture or baby lambs. They can help us get our message, especially to moms. We call them soccer moms in the U.S. Maybe you got rugby moms here too, I'm not sure. But they get people's attention. If they knew everything we did to take care of those little babies, I think they'd have a whole different opinion of us. So we've got tools we're not using and taking advantage of to share our stories. And I'm getting involved locally a little bit more as my time allows, since I'm not in the calf barn every day anymore. I'm involved in our Chamber of Commerce with other local businesses. I found that very helpful, just to let them know I'm a farm and, hey, we're a business too, and I answer their questions. Every June, the Chamber asks our farm to come and celebrate June Dairy Month at the June meeting. And I tell them no, and they keep saying yes, so I do it because I'm glad they're asking us. I feel that's an opportunity. Our library is being remodeled and changed in our community of 25,000 people. So I'm serving as a committee member there to help raise money to do that. And one of the entryways is going to be dedicated to agriculture, especially for kids. So I'm trying to be involved in that and get agriculture companies and other farmers to get involved in our community and work for kids and help them understand agriculture at that point. I also have been involved in Leadership Wisconsin, Leadership Watertown in our local community. And if you act on your beliefs and you're passionate about what you do, it's going to show through to all the consumers. That's not a problem. They're really our customers, and they want to know us. I got involved in promoting dairy here at the state capitol, go to Madison and talk to people, share what I do and answer their questions. I'd like to go to schools when I can, and this was actually a group in the local community where I talked to young women about agriculture and what I did and how I use social media to share my story. So that was kind of a really fun meeting for me to talk. And I think we need to listen more as farmers. We never listen enough, maybe even to our family and our spouse and the people we work with, right? Use your ears and listen a little more. That's me trying to listen to people who had concerns in Madison. Start building the one-on-one relationships with people and have two-way conversations. You need to respect people's opinions and backgrounds, and you might not agree, that's okay, but just agree to disagree. Some of my dad's best friends were people that came from different backgrounds, different religions, different everything, different political spectrums, but they were still best friends throughout their whole lives. And my dad's 85 now, and they're still good friends. So you can disagree with people and still move on and still get your point across. And one of the things you need to connect with people on is values. What are your values? So we have a lady in our neighborhood that maybe was asking really tough questions when she came to our farm picnic this summer, and she'd been asking tough questions of our neighbors. But you know what? We found we had a shared interest in kayaking. So the next week, she's bringing me a brochure on where I can kayak in the local neighborhood. And I'm like, this is good. We're starting on a conversation, sharing a common interest. So we're going to continue that conversation, hopefully. We take our animals to one of the local nursing homes and retirement homes, and boy, is that fun, just to see the residents with their memories. And that's just personally rewarding for Lloyd and I to do. I don't care if we get press coverage on it or not. It doesn't matter, but we like connecting with people. On the upper right-hand side there is my straw bale garden. Anybody do straw bale gardens? Ooh, we got to work on that one. Okay. I don't plant in the dirt, I plant in straw bales, and it's been very successful, but that's kind of one of the things I like to do, and there's people I'm connecting with. That's farming in the small, right? We're just starting in a different way. Cats, pets, dogs, a lot of people in the city, right? They treat their dogs and animals like they're humans, good or bad, I don't know, but if you could connect over pets and sharing and loving your pets, do it. And also hiking in the mountains there with my friend Gustel. If you can connect on your values and things you like, I think that's going to go a long way. We talk about our sustainability efforts. Here's some signs we put up on a couple of our fields this last year, and now we're going to come up with new titles. In fact, that's my job on the way home, to think up some new catchy titles. This field gets manure and organic fertilizer. Simple. Got our logo on there, and we put those up. I think there's 4 different signs we had up, so this year we'll do some more signs. We're having college students come to our farm, and we like to talk about sustainability, okay? So here we take about 60 pounds of cattle feed, 100 pounds of milk comes out of that, and what do we end up with? 10 pounds of cheese. Just that visual alone is one way we talk about how we can take all the things we're growing in the fields and turn it into food for consumers and customers. So using visuals like this might help you get a point across. We always say our farm is open to anyone with an open mind, and we truly believe that. So when you go home, I'm going to challenge you to pick a group or a social media outlet that works for you. Begin to post some things here and there, maybe sprinkle in some information about your family, your hobbies, and people will connect with you. They will slowly, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's just very slowly. Things will unfold. They'll start to connect with you. Use some pictures. Here's pictures of our kids. Lauren and Taylor when they were young with a cow, and then a picture of Lauren and Taylor when they were older with a real cow. So use pictures and your phones to your advantage. It's very easy, right? We all have our phone. You can easily use that tool to help share your message and compare and contrast. So I could add some real catchy caption with this. I didn't, but I can do that going forward. Here's my Saturday night dinner. Lloyd and I were sitting at the table, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll take a picture. So grilled cheese, okay, we're promoting grilled cheese back in Wisconsin. Chocolate milk and white milk mixed together. I got 148 likes and 21 comments on my Saturday night dinner. I don't get this, but connecting, okay? Somebody liked it. I put down the kinds of cheeses, the brands of cheeses, helping to promote the cheeses. It was just amazing to me that people did it. So, you know, there's opportunity out there is my point. You can post anything. And keep sharing your sustainable efforts. Here's Lloyd with his favorite cow. I think if you just look at that man and that cow interacting, that says a lot. And maybe I'm reading too much into it because I know the cow and the man, but maybe not. That is sharing, okay? They make a connection. There's a bond there, and consumers see that. It's only a positive. So if you're not the person to do social media or communications at home on your farm, maybe there is someone else. But you can find them. You can encourage customers to ask a real farmer. That's so important. Ask a real farmer. And if you ask 10 farmers, you might get 11 opinions, but at least you're asking. So keep on encouraging people to ask about farming, ask their questions, do your part, if you can, to speak up, someone else at your farm. Maybe someone just helps you. Our kids still do a lot, even though they're not on the farm every day. They do help us with our message. So think about how you can help share your sustainability story, because we're all going to need to do this as we go forward together. Thanks.